I'm Brian Duffy. Here are the latest headlines from 19 News for March 4th, 2026.
First with breaking news. First with new information. Plus, your first alert forecast. 19 News starts now.
We begin today with information on a disturbing discovery. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Duffy.
And I'm Nicole Versansky. DNA confirms the two young girls found buried in suitcases are related. First at 4, Brittany Weir has been working on this story for a couple days for us now. She's live outside the Cleveland Police Headquarters with the very latest on this case. Brittany.
Yes, Brian and Nicole, the medical examiner's office confirming today that those two girls are in fact related. They're actually half siblings, meaning they have either the same father or the same mother. It all started Monday evening, just after 6 p.m. A man walking his dog in a field near East 163rd and Midland Avenue noticed something out of the ordinary. His dog hit a scent and he saw a body and immediately called 911.
The officers responded out and located a deceased individual that was in a shallow grave inside of a suitcase.
When detectives arrived to the scene near Ginn Academy, they found a second suitcase with another body inside.
It's traumatic for everyone, and it's traumatic just for those who live in the area to know that this was right there outside their doorstep.
Wednesday morning, the Cuyahoga County medical examiner confirmed through DNA that the two girls are half siblings. They have not yet figured out who these girls are or how they died, but here's what we do know. They are black. One is between 8 and 13 years old, and the other between 10 and 14. Investigators say there are no local missing children reports matching the victims' descriptions. They are now checking statewide with state and federal partners.
It's just terrible, horrific situation.
19 News spoke to the Ohio Department of Public Safety Director Andy Wilson back in December of 2025. He highlighted the work the state is doing to help missing children and their families.
I mean, there are an awful lot of kids that are missing. There's an awful lot of people that are missing, and I just don't think the general public has an idea of what a serious problem this is.
He says if you think something has happened to a loved one or a friend, don't wait, report it.
If you see a kid out there that just something's not right, a lot of times you get that spidey, that something feels off. Ask those questions or call 911.
And Cleveland police want to remind everyone that they are still in the very early stages of this investigation. We still don't know if these girls were missing or if they were even reported. So still a lot of unanswered questions, but they are asking anyone with information about this case to please give them a call. In Cleveland, Brittany Weir, 19 News.
All right, and as Brittany mentioned, we are hoping to learn more in the coming days. More specifically, how did the girls die? Who were their parents? Look for continuing coverage as we do uncover all the new details. We'll bring them to you on air and on 19 News Plus.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, now to your first alert on our warming temperatures. And yeah, there's some rain that's kind of sticking around.
19 First Alert meteorologist Andy Chillian here with the details. It's been kind of an eerie day out there today with all the fog.
Yeah, we've seen fog hugging the lake shore today. That's kept us cooler there. Widespread rain moving in overnight, and we'll take a look outside. First of all, yeah, that spooky looking view in Conneaut, and it looks like Halloween, doesn't it? The tree just fits. But we have fog only along the lake shore. This is the view in Parma, where we're actually starting to see almost a little bit of fog building in again. We saw a little bit of a blue sky earlier, so fog is sort of ebbing and flowing at this hour. We may actually see it move a little bit further inland now as that lake breeze is picking up a bit more. That's actually allowing the temperatures to drop a bit. But in terms of visibility, I mean, except for Burke Lakefront Airport right on the water there, we're not too bad elsewhere. But the temperature has fallen to a stubborn 39 in Cleveland, 36 in Sandusky, 43 in the rain. Look at Akron, though, at 51, and we're at 52 in New Philadelphia. The blue shading right along the lake really tells the story, and that is what happens after a cold winter season, and you get a lake that in some cases is still iced over. Good news is we're dry at this hour, though. Rain's really not due in here now until I'd say 9 o'clock or so we've got a few more dry hours. Temperatures may end up rising a little bit as that wind shifts more to the east to southeast at 5 miles per hour, but just be mindful there will be a widespread rain overnight and another round coming tomorrow as well. I'll time that out for you. We'll look at First Alert Future View. There's another round of rain and storms on Saturday, but of course warmer days are mixed in. First Alert 7-day, we'll talk about that as well coming up in just a bit.
It is dangerous and illegal, but they happened around our state and our area today, including in Rocky River. Swatting calls, threats of violence to schools, bringing a large police presence. And in Rocky River's case, students at the high school were released early today.
Now, again, those calls, and we can't stress this enough to people out there, they are against the law, and the penalties can be very serious.
But it is so scary for everyone involved in these threats. 19 data journalist Dan DeRose joins us with the punishment that these people can face.
Spoke with a professor at Case Western Reserve University. He's actually with the Begun Center on Violence and Research, on preventing violence and research. And this is the problem. When it's statewide like this, and there were calls from Toledo down to Cincinnati, there were even schools in Columbus. This looks like somebody who placed multiple calls at about the exact same time, probably used a computer to call all these schools across the state. Now, the professor says this could be somebody that maybe is disgruntled against law enforcement, wants to waste their time, maybe disgruntled against school policies and did it that way. Let's talk about the penalties here. The professor saying if this was some kid trying to get out of a test, it's not what it looks like in this case, but they need to be reminded how serious this is. It is a 4th-degree felony. This is new, relatively new. 2023 is when the state enacted this. That's punishable by up to 18 months in prison. Now, if somebody gets hurt, maybe the first responders racing to the high school, maybe as they're putting kids in lockdown and the student gets hurt in some way, that can be bumped up now to a 2nd-degree felony. Penalties even stiffer, 2 to 8 years in prison. And they can go after reimbursement costs. And today in Rocky River, they had 30 officers at $40 an hour. They were there for 3 hours, plus all the equipment, the big trucks, the armored trucks that go in there. They can charge for all of that. But according to the professor, yeah, it comes down to you have to catch them first.
If someone's sitting in the county library using the desktop in the library, then you can pretty easily trace that IP address and that location, or from a particular phone in a local community. If you have the cooperation of the cell phone companies, if this is being done with an alleged perpetrator who's overseas, that becomes much more difficult and requires collaboration among not only local and federal authorities, but international authorities.
And according to Professor Flannery, there have been situations where maybe they're gamers, they're online people who set up somebody else saying, he's doing this or he's doing this, he's got violent or he's going to commit this crime and he's got all these weapons. And the SWAT team goes over there. Unfortunately, around the country, there have been cases where police go into what they think is a dangerous situation and somebody does get seriously hurt. Not cool, obviously penalties for this, but as the professor said, it's going to be difficult to catch somebody that's overseas.
Well, Israel and the United States stepping up attacks on Iran. That as the Senate holds a vote on whether to allow a future vote on limiting the president's war authority. The measure is expected to fail. Brian Abel reports.
We are accelerating, not decelerating.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth cautioning Americans the operation against Iran is still in its early days.
Iran's capabilities are evaporating by the hour, while American strength grows fiercer, smarter, and utterly dominant. More bombers and more fighters are arriving just today.
Hegseth says the next phase of the military action is for U.S. and Israeli air forces to take complete control of Iranian skies. And the Department of Defense released new video Wednesday of a U.S. submarine sinking an Iranian warship in international waters. On the ground,
we will now begin to expand inland striking progressively deeper into Iranian territory and creating additional freedom of maneuver for U.S. forces.
The Pentagon identifying 4 of the 6 American service members killed Sunday in an Iranian drone strike. More than 1,000 people have been killed in Iran since the war began, according to U.S.-based group, the Human Rights Activist News Agency. Meanwhile, American civilians in the region are scrambling to evacuate. The U.S. has closed embassies in 3 countries, reduced its regional diplomatic staffing, and warned Americans to leave.
If an airport's been attacked or the airspace is closed, then we can have the planes lined up to go, but we can't get them to land because we don't have the permissions to land there. So that's the challenge, but rest assured, we are confident that we are going to be able to assist every American.
In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
They show up every day to keep you safe at the airport, but right now they're doing it without a paycheck.
First at 4, Isabella Roberts is with us with how Cleveland Hopkins is helping those workers put food on the table.
300 federal workers, mainly TSA agents at Cleveland Hopkins, are about to miss a paycheck this week, and the airport is making sure they don't miss a meal. It's day 19 of the partial government shutdown, and Cleveland Hopkins International is asking for your help.
The airport community is looking to support our federal partners while they continue to work tirelessly to keep our guests safe, and we're going to do this through a food pantry.
Megan O'Connell with CLE says the food pantry will open and begin accepting donations today.
Starting today, we will be collecting household essentials and food items to support them and their families. We're asking for the public's help in keeping this food pantry stocked so that we can help as many employees as possible.
Donating is easy. Just bring canned goods, cleaning supplies, or gift cards for gas and groceries in $10 increments here to the Central Checkpoint's information desk. They'll be accepting donations every day from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. until the partial government shutdown ends. Hopkins has been here before. During the last government shutdown in October of last year, the airport had a food pantry up and running, but this time you can help.
Actually, last time, if you might remember, we were only opening it up to employees to donate, and we had such an overwhelmingly positive response from the public that we opened it up to the public as well.
O'Connell says despite the uncertainty, the agents remain grateful.
They're a very humble group, but they are, like I said, they're here and they're proud to do their job. So, I think that they're just happy to know that Northeast Ohio and the city of Cleveland is behind them and supporting them during this time, which might be difficult for some of them.
For a full list of accepted items, head to cleveland19.com. In Cleveland, Isabella Roberts, 19 News.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
Our next big things includes a couple rounds of rain, one coming tonight and then another tomorrow. We may end up seeing a bit of a break in time for the morning commute tomorrow. It would still be damp roadways, but just be prepared for that. Could be a few embedded rumbles of thunder or even some storms as well. Friday not looking too bad. Will trend drier. Can be a stray shower or two, but certainly nothing widespread. And warmer. Temperatures pushing into the 60s. And then Saturday even a bit warmer but windy. And that's when I am looking at rain and storms at this point favoring the afternoon and evening hours on Saturday. So not a complete washout from sunrise to sunset, but either way another round of active weather to start our weekend. Here's your temperatures tonight. All of us well above the freezing mark, even warmer than last night. There can be some fog that does settle in here early. I know we've seen that pretty much all day along the lakeshore, but then when the rain starts, the fog tends to mix out. Either way, no concern for any wintry weather. Tomorrow, those periods of rain and temperatures inching a little bit higher, 53 in Cleveland for your Thursday afternoon, 60 in Canton to Carrollton, 62 in Dover, but only in the 40s in areas like Mentor and Sandusky. So that lake breeze, that north to northeast breeze, still putting in work for us. And then I want to show you Friday when we finally start to warm up decently everywhere. Mostly cloudy, still in the 50s likely in Mentor and maybe spots along the immediate lakeshore to the east of Cleveland. But Cleveland itself 62 for Friday. And how about 67 Canton, 66 in Worcester, Medina, Akron, and 68 Millersburg to Dover on your Friday afternoon. So there is the long advertised warm-up. Here's a look at our first future view. Could see a couple stray showers along and south of US 30 initially here. Otherwise, the widespread rain doesn't really come until well after dark. Here's 11 o'clock. All of us getting this. This is a very widespread rain. This will move out, though. You can see by 7 a.m. not much going on, so we may be lucky enough to not get total downpours for the morning commute. The roads will still be wet. Here's the next round pushing in, though, by around this time tomorrow, really early afternoon, so it'll be raining around this time tomorrow. That moves out, a couple of scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm here, as you can see, late tomorrow evening, and then that'll move out overnight. Not much going on Friday. Don't want to rule out a stray shower, but it looks to be mostly dry. Even into Saturday morning, the morning hours are looking driest on Saturday before showers and storms start to take shape during the afternoon. So first alert 7-day, we do have temperatures in the process of rising through this weekend, well into the 60s. Look at Saturday morning. It is certainly a mild start there. Spring forward with our clocks Saturday night into Sunday. Temperatures dropping, though, on Sunday back to the 50s. We go only briefly, though. Not bad Sunday, though. Mostly sunny. Lots of sunshine Monday. Just beautiful start to the work week. Sunny and 66. And then your eyes may be focused on the 70s here Tuesday and Wednesday. That does come with another opportunity for showers and storms scattered on Tuesday, and then likely more widespread by this time next week as yet another front pushes through, and that front is likely to drop us back to more in the way of a wintry feel as we head towards the end of next week. So enjoy this springy feel while we have it over the next 7 days.
Now to your top 4 at 4, we have new information on the 2 young girls whose bodies were found buried in shallow graves inside 2 suitcases. Through DNA testing, the medical examiner says the girls are half siblings, meaning they have the same mom or the same dad. A man walking his dog made the grim discovery Monday. This is near Ginn Academy. One victim is believed to be between the ages of 8 and 13, the other between 10 and 14.
Several schools throughout Ohio were placed on lockdown today due to threats, but they appeared to be swatting calls. That included Rocky River High School. Rooms were cleared, but police there did not find anything that appeared to be a threat. But the students were sent home early. You can expect a heavy police presence in and around the Rocky River schools throughout the rest of this week.
The Amherst man accused of driving drunk and hitting a 65-year-old woman and her dog had a bond hearing today. The woman was seriously hurt. She's actually still recovering from her injuries. Her dog died. The judge lowered the bond for Sean Bankston from $250,000 to $100,000. Animal rights advocates got petitions signed to have animal cruelty charges added to the case.
U.S. Marshals are asking for your help. They want to find these 3 sex offenders. The fugitives are Calvin Carswell, Jackie Taylor, and Isaac Houston. None of them registered their address with the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office. All 3 last reported living in Cleveland. A reward is available. Call 1-866-4-WANTED if you know where they are. A body camera may have saved the life of a deputy. This is in Florida. It's pretty incredible. You can see where the bullet actually hit the camera.
And that body camera was on during the time of the shooting. So deputies were in the neighborhood investigating an assault when they encountered a man at a front door. The deputy introduces himself to the suspect, who goes back inside. Investigators say in a matter of seconds, he came out with a gun and opened fire. Here is where that shot hit the officer's body camera. Several shots were fired, again, including the one that hit the deputy's body camera. The sheriff's office says a bullet that hit that camera ricocheted into the officer's shoulder. They quickly applied a tourniquet, got him to the hospital. He was actually released today. Here he is. Fellow officers were there to shake his hand. The suspect is being held without bond.
Well, a historic building about to come down in Canton.
And leaders, though, are hoping by getting rid of this one building, it's going to help give an entire neighborhood new life. 19 News reporter Catherine Huntley has the story first at 4.
Nearly 100 years ago, people were walking through those doors to an apartment building that was the height of luxury here in Canton. But now, in just a few weeks, the historic Ritz Hotel apartments will be gone forever. It was once a spot of grandeur and style in the 1920s. Memories of that still cling to the facade. The name Ritz remains emblazoned above the door, but it's been empty for more than 2 decades.
A lot of my teachers stayed down here because it was the hot place to be, and that's going back to the 70s. But through the course of time, it became antiquated, delinquent in taxes, run down, vacant.
Canton Building Department's Chief of Staff, J.R. Rinaldi, remembers a time gone by. The city tried hard to find a way to revitalize the historic property. But years of significant decay and disrepair has made the property not worth the millions it would take to fix it.
It's just too far gone, too far damaged from having an inadequate roof to keep it dried in. And that pretty much brings us to today.
The bank donated the building to the city, and now the Stark County Land Bank is paying the nearly $100,000 to demolish the dilapidated structure. Neighbors tell 19 News they hope something positive for the community can be built. Lack of parking limits what can be done with the space, but the city hopes townhomes or a new small apartment building can attract more families to the area.
Now we're going to get with those community partners and we're going to get this back into the hands of them to where we can get those young families back in downtown Canton.
Demolition should begin at the site in the next few weeks. In Canton, Catherine Huntley, 19 News.
Summit County judge will decide if the charges against a 15-year-old boy should be moved to adult court. He's accused of killing a 14-year-old, London Brown, on November 15th. Police found her shot and killed right near Twinsburg High School. Suspect was picked up nearby. For now, he remains locked up while the judge considers her decision.
U.S. strikes on Iran have injected more instability into the U.S. economy. And while crude oil prices have evened off for now, they pushed gas prices higher. Financial experts say the pumps aren't the only place we could feel a squeeze. Karen Kaifa is in Washington with a look at how an extended conflict could impact households.
Economists say the impact of the Iran war on the U.S. economy will depend upon how long it lasts.
If instead of 4 weeks, we're talking about 4 months or longer, very different discussion. So duration is key to economic impact.
The conflict in the Middle East has sent crude oil prices soaring, a spike playing out at the gas pumps this week. Meghna Maharishi, airline reporter for Skift, says higher oil prices could eventually impact the cost of flying.
It is hard to tell how much an increase in jet fuel prices might impact airfares, just because airfares are mostly a product of supply and demand, but jet fuel is definitely a factor.
Covering higher transportation costs, whether by air or truck, impacts companies' bottom lines. The conflict is also prompting shipping vessels to avoid the Strait of Hormuz off Iran's southern coast. Michael Goldman, general manager for North America at Karu Containers, says taking the long way costs more.
We're seeing the routes that ships having to take be much longer, much more costly, going around the Horn of Africa instead of going through the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea. And we're definitely seeing cost increases to the carriers to make those journeys.
Uncertainty about whether companies will increase the price of their goods and boost inflation may encourage the Federal Reserve to keep interest rates steady, delaying relief to American consumers collectively carrying record household debt from higher mortgage, credit card, and auto loan balances. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
All right, now to a 19 crime alert about a check washing scam. Check washing is when criminals steal mailed checks. Then they use chemicals to erase the original ink and then change who the check is made out to and for how much. Police say you should drop checks inside the post office and use a gel pen with permanent ink when writing checks. If you see any suspicious bank activity, call your bank and police. We have a brand new streaming show debuting today. It's called The Watchdog. Every week, Jen Pachano is finding ways to protect your money, ways to avoid becoming a victim of scammers, and more. Check out episode 1, streaming on 19 News Plus after you tune in at 6:30 after 19 News at 6. I'm Brian Duffy. Thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe for the latest headlines every weekday, and be sure to stream any newscast on demand on our free 19 News Plus app.